Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy AAR20. I'm bringing you guys my BBL Season 2 draft analysis. Now, before I begin, I would like to give a few massive shoutouts. First off and foremost, I'd like to give a shout out to Grant for not only doing my, god damn it, I don't webcam, new logo over, there, now I got it right. Oh, my new logo over there, it looks so fucking amazing. But I would also like to give a shout out to, one, my commissioner team that has helped me with this season as well, being Perfected Blue and Splurge. Their links along with the rest of the coaches in the description below, along with Grant's link as well, of course, because he did all the graphics and also has done a lot of my channel stuff. I'll be linking Grant in all my descriptions from now on, just because of the fact that obviously he did my new banner, my new icon. If I didn't mention that already, I could have sworn I have, though. He did my new logo, he did graphics for the league I run. He's essentially more than earned his spot in my description from now on. Also, I would like to give a massive shout out to all of the coaches this season, especially also the Flying Bird, of course, for recommending I go to Grant. So, of course, shout out to him, but more importantly as well, everyone else in the league. Without everyone else in the league, this wouldn't be possible. So, massive shout out to all you guys for being valuable parts in this league. So, I think it's important that I go into basically how the draft worked this season, and also my plans going into the draft. Because I think it definitely is something important to start off with, because it sort of does shape how I went with the season. So we did start off this season with 24 points and below for our Ubers range. If you got a 24-point Uber, which is consistent of Arceus Dark, Flying, Ghost, Psychic. We did a lot of new Arceus forms, but there is an Arceus clause which I will get into after I go over the point structure. There's also Marshadow, Mega Lucario, Mewtwo with Zygarde complete. We have in 23 points, which is our other new allowed tier, Arceus Dragon, Electric Fighting, Poison, and Rock. And we also did add Groudon to there with Z potential now, and Rayquaza, who also has Z potential now. Then in 22 points, we had a couple move-ups, the move-ups being Lugia and Palkia from 20 to 22 points. Big changes, of course, but I think it makes sense. Also, we had Arceus Ice going up from 21 to 22 points. Arceus Ice was really solid offensively last season. 21 points just dropped Arceus Grass, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And we also, did we drop Mega Blaziken? I think we dropped Mega Blaziken to 21 points. I honestly can't remember if, 20 points. Our only new addition was Dawn Wings Necrozma, and I believe that was all of our changes. Oh, also, 18 points. We lost out on not only Lando I, but Mega Latios. Those are now non-Ubers, as it's considered. 17 and below is non-Ubers. And that does shape into to how draft was able to work. So that's a very important detail. In terms of the Ubers, the way the Ubers worked this season was you either had a 124-point Uber, which is why a lot of teams that you might see in the BBL this season have like only one Uber. It's because they were only allowed to have one Uber. Things like Mewtwo, Marshadow, they were just a little too much to be stacked on top of, let's say, even just a 19 or 18-point Uber like a Naganadel or a Magearna or something. It was a little too much, as you can imagine. 23, 22-point Ubers, you could draft a 19-point below Uber as well with that, or you don't need to, of course. So I could do like a Groudon Magearna. That was actually one of my ideal cores. Another one was Lugia Magearna, Lugia Aegislash. Those are like my three biggest priorities in cores. If I got a Magearna core, it was going to be Magearna round 1, and then one of those two round 2. Otherwise, it was going to be the Legend round 1, and then Aegislash round 2. Aegislash Groudon was another core I had in mind as well. Basically, it was those two mons paired with either Aegislash or Magearna. Another option was 21 point and below. You can get any two mons 21 through 18, no matter what points they were, because these were sort of like our middle tier Ubers. So this is very important, of course. Palkia was originally moved up forcefully to 21 along with Lugia, but they were deemed to be a little too broken paired with, like, let's say, Xerneas or something, or like a Mega Metagross or something in general from that point range, which is very understandable, so I definitely do get it. So originally how the draft worked, my original core was Lugia Aegislash. I figured that this core would be near unstoppable in terms of defensive synergy. It would just be way too disgusting. So sadly, Lugia gets taken pick 2. Very understandable. I think Lugia last season more than pointed out why it's as good as it is. Then I was like, okay, you know, I'll go with Magearna Groudon. That was my backup if Lugia got taken. Magearna gets taken pick 6 by Gypsy. Very understandable. Super took Lugia pick 2. So again, very understandable, of course. I definitely do understand why these mons were taken. it wasn't exactly surprised. I had picked 9 overall in the draft, so I was very shocked that Magirna lasted as long as it did, because Magirna pairs well with pretty much everything allowed, in all honesty. So I definitely do get it. So then it got to pick 8, and I was like, okay, you know what? I'll go with Groudon Aegislash. Groudon gets taken literally pick before me by Blue, and I was like, fuck, I gotta repick. Or I gotta change my pick idea. So there's a few things left on the board. Things like Marshadow. Marshadow I hadn't had the best success with. I felt like in Speed Tours, I locked myself into a lot of bulk up spreads, like sub bulk up. I felt like I didn't want to do that this season. I also had the option of Zygarde Complete. I didn't overly like my experience with Zygarde Complete, not gonna lie. I feel like it staying in 50% form before it goes to Complete is a little bit eh. I considered Ho-Oh a lot. I really considered Ho-Oh going Ho-Oh Lando T. However, I felt like that going Ho-Oh Lando T wasn't in my best interest, because I knew what kind of team I would be drafting if I got Ho-Oh Lando T, and it was not a team that I really wanted to draft, because there's a lot of middle speed tier mons. It was a team that really relied on Lando T and potentially Kartana later on as a defogger. Didn't want to have that happen, so I passed on Ho-Oh Lando T idea. Also because I didn't really like my S tier options going with that. I could have potentially gotten Ash Gren. That was something I did heavily consider. But I ultimately decided on going with my first pick in the draft, pick 9 overall, Xerneas. Now, this sort of ended up really locking my draft into a place where I'm not overly comfortable with it, not gonna lie. And I don't know why, but there's like a hair sticking up. It's good enough. But basically, this sort of locked my team into a position I was not comfortable with in my draft. It sort of forced me to play semi-stall, and if you guys don't know, I don't know how to play semi-stall. And you could be saying to yourselves, well, Xerneas is really offensive mon, how does it lock semi-stall? It was based on what was left and what I felt like would be good coring with this. Now, there are still a few mons that I could potentially change this draft up entirely to an offensive draft. However, I don't think it's likely that I'm able to make 5 transactions to fix this team in terms of that aspect. So I'm going with semi-stall this season. Oh boy. Xerneas, so really solid speed tier, not gonna lie. Base 99 overall is a really nice speed tier to hit in general. I think that it has a lot of merit to it in terms of what it outspeeds, what needs to creep for it at base 100. Things like Victini, if they're going to outspeed this thing, need to run that base 100. All you can say to yourselves, well, Xerneas doesn't get any special coverage to Victini. Well, that's where you'd be wrong. Actually, that's where you'd be right, but wrong in terms of not being able to counter Victini, because this thing does still have equal physical attack as special attack. People really overlook that in Ubers normally because it does have a lot of Geomancy sets. That's pretty much the ideal spread to run for Xerneas. Either that or like a Scarf set with like Defog. However, it does have a lot of potential actually in terms of running, let's say, a physical set or a mixed spread. It does get coverage like Close Combat and Rock Slide for things that it would normally not be able to really hit. Things like Fire types, Steel types, etc. that it would normally not really be able to touch. Its physical coverage could potentially help with. So a mixed Xerneas or a physical Xerneas could be actually really powerful some weeks. Sadly, it doesn't get any physical stab, because otherwise a physical Xerneas just full out with like a bandit set would be a monster to play against. However, it's still not a bad mon in terms of mixed or even physical coverage. It just depends on if I really need a fairy coverage some weeks. And some weeks I might not. So, Xerneas overall, really solid mon. It's also a cleric. However, I don't really know if I want to run this as a cleric or defog every week. So I do definitely want to look at something else later on in the draft to fix that up. Next up, we got our Steel type Aegislash. Now, if you guys saw my P4G next gen run, I use this thing horribly. So, we're really looking to redeem that this season. I think that overall something I am really scared of though is the potential for my team to get really beaten by 1, other steals right now, and 2, for my team to get really badly beaten by ghost types, because later on you'll see my team really didn't. This sort of created a problem where my team didn't have a ghost switch in, and my ghost answer was I'm on weak to ghost, and that was slower than most of them. So that's definitely an issue. However, this does also create a vacuum for other teams having to prep around Trick Room. Well, not a vacuum. I don't know why I said that. It creates a way so that way then I now have a Trick Room access on my team in terms of offensiveness. So I just got to get a couple Trick Room centers later on in the draft, and we're good to go. My speed tiers also aren't bad either for setting up fast as well, because I do have Autonomous Aegislash, which is really nice. My Xerneas can be a really nice Scarfer. So, of course, I do have the fast options as well as the slow options. I think the overall that my team is going to be really scary in terms of what it can do. However, at the same time, I think that it's going to be in such a way where I will need to draft run semi-stall every week, which isn't bad. I think semi-stall has a place in format. It's a really solid playstyle in my opinion. However, I think that overall, it's not the best for me because I cannot play it. Last time I tried playing a semi-stall team, it was an MPL and I went 0-10 technically, but the draft itself went 1-9, so not the best. So we'll see what we can do. We'll see if we can make Aegislash work this time around. I think my team is a lot better around Aegislash this time around than it was in P4G Next Gen, keep in mind. So I think there is a lot of potential for this to actually work. Next up, we have ourselves Suicune. I think I got this a little early on, not gonna lie, but I felt like that there was too many teams that could really benefit from having a Suicune on them. Albeit, I could have probably waited till round 4 for it. However, I didn't think that anything else on my team was worth getting at this point in the draft because of how teams were stacking up. I asked a couple teams if they were getting my next pick and they weren't. So I feel like, okay, there's a lot more risk of them drafting Suicune than they were my next pick. Suicune, really nice defensive mon. I really liked using it in PGL until my game that goes up tomorrow. I believe I'll upload PGL tomorrow. Yeah, PGL will go up tomorrow. So that'll sort of explain the nickname for Suicune. Oh, by the way, nicknames. I completely forgot about those. Xerneas is going to be nicknamed Rudolph this season. Aegislash will be number 2 pencil. I thought that was kind of funny. And Suicune is a heartbreak. It's like the little V, or V with like the little slash, and then the number 3. That looks like a 3 kinda, and it's like this, but it has like a little slash down the middle. So like a little heartbreak like that. Because Suicune broke my heart, PGL week 12. You guys will see why then, though. Regardless, though, this thing does have a lot of defensive options and a lot of support. Overall, it's a really nice phaser, which is really nice because I felt like that my team could potentially just get broken through by setup mons. Because it is a very fat team. At this point, I had a draft plan set in mind. I knew what Mega I wanted. I knew everything I wanted. I also confirmed that my Mega was not getting taken because, well, I confirmed after this pick my Mega was not getting taken. Because there was like 3 or 4 other teams that wanted Megas. Bird willingly told me what his Mega was. And then it came down to just Matt and Gypsy. Gypsy told me what Megas he wanted. He actually approached me literally like a minute before I was going to DM him. I just finished DMing Matt about his Mega, and I was going to Gypsy, and I already had a DM waiting for me asking what Mega I wanted. So I was like, it's perfect, because I now know that I can hold off on my Mega until the last round, because Matt didn't want it, Gypsy didn't want it, and also the fact that Bird didn't want it. So that was really nice, because my Mega was arguably the only other mon I would have gotten in my pick 3 slot, but knowing I could wait until the last round on it was really nice. It allowed a lot of lower tier mons that I wanted to get picked up earlier on, because of course people are going to spend their points really, really recklessly, I felt like. So being able to get my Mega last round was actually really nice. It's a really nice benefit to have in draft, not going for your Mega round one, I felt like. And also, a lot of teams, I feel like, overvalue their Megas and try and build around it, when in most cases, you can definitely wait until the last round to get a Mega, or even like second to last round or third to last round. Point is later on in the draft, because, as I said, a lot of teams will like go round 1 Mega, round 2 Megas, when there's still usually a lot of Megas by like round 8, you can still fit in your team and just patch up a couple things with a lower tier pick. So, being able to wait, though, until the very end for my Mega was very nice. It allowed me to get my Mega if I needed to. If I got sniped, I could always just play around that and then get a different Mega. So it worked out fine. Next up, though, this is a mon that once I knew the Mega I was getting, I had to get. This is my first Z-mon, Tornadus Therian. This only contributes more to the idea I drafted Semi-Stall. And at this point in the draft, besides Xerneas, this is my most offensive mon, technically, because Aegislash is usually run defensively. Really nice speed tier as well. Pace 121, it does give us a fast mon. I feel like also the fast defog is really nice. It also gets taunt, which is of course really nice in terms of just breaking out other walls. I felt like the Torn also giving us our first initiative was really solid as well, because I could pivot into, let's say, like an Aegislash or something and take hits really well. Or even like a defensive Xerneas, because Xerneas does have some nice defense. Suicune as well. Again, all these defensive mons that I have so far, I can pivot into them. And I can also pivot into Breakers, which I do draft a couple later on. Just like 1 or 2, but I do have a couple Breakers in this team nonetheless. Overall, though, I think the Torn being like probably my top 3 offensive mons is a little bit scary to me. It's like top 3 or 4. Regardless, though, I'm going to make it work. I think that it definitely does have a lot of merit on my team. It's just a matter of, will it work out well for me, because I can't play it. Week 1, I'm already telling you right now, it was really hard fitting this mon on my team. I'm not sure if I'm going to really keep it, not going to lie. But it is what it is. I might honestly just need to go hard offense with my free agents, because this is not looking like it's looking like a team that could become offensive, but as of right now, it is not offensive. So I might need to definitely do some transactions, or either just go full stall. Next up, we have Donphan. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not sure why I drafted Donphan in all honesty. At the time, I was thinking, Custap lead, I get rocks, I get a nice spinner, it's a solid ground type. But then I was thinking to myself, I don't like Donphan in this draft. And I was thinking that like a couple days ago. I was like, I really don't like Donphan in this draft. It both works really well and doesn't work really well in my opinion. I think that I'm going to have to try it and see what I can do with it. Maybe I'll change my mind in building for later weeks. For now, though, I feel like it's just really lackluster compared to other Ubers. I originally drafted it because I figured, sturdy cost app, it gets some priority in Ice Shard, which Ice Shard priority, even if it's non-stab, isn't the worst to have, considering a lot of Ubers are really weak to ice coverage. Things, pretty much any Uber that's like a dragon type is at very least neutral, if not weak to it. There's things like Shaman Sky, of course, which obviously Shaman Sky is a very scary Uber in itself, being able to flinch out everything. So overall, though, I felt like there was a lot of merit to picking up Donphan. However, looking at it on my draft, it fits both really well and really poorly, in my opinion. I feel like I could have definitely used this to get a more offensive ground than Donphan. Because while Donphan does have really solid offensive stat, it's really meant to just take hits. And I don't know how I feel about that when the rest of my team takes hits really well. As you can see, my frailest mon right now is Tornadus Therian. It does get changed later on, but I have maybe 1 or 2 mons frailer than Torn T, which says a lot about my team this season. So we'll go with it. We'll go with it for. I want to go with it at least till week 3 and then see what happens. Worst comes to worst, I do end up making transactions. It's not that big of a deal. Next up, I choked picking this mon the round I did because every other team besides Gypsy had a dragon or a ground type, not a dragon or a fighting type. This mon being Como. I really did want Como, but I didn't want it this pick. I meant to pick a low Persian. I thought I already had it. It literally is just like our Icy Bay run all over again with the Dark type, where we draft the wrong mon thinking that we already got our Dark type, and they get sniped 2 picks later, so no Lowland Persian on the team. To be fair, Lowland Persian would have contributed more to the idea that we drafted semi-stall. I'd argue at that point our team would have been full stall, but it's whatever. Como is our mon that I would argue is the only mon more offensive than Torn T besides Xerneas. So there's that. It's really solid setup mon, which my team really did lack a speedy setup mon. Because Xerneas, while it does have Calm Mind, it can't run Geomancy, which is really unfortunate. But it is what it is. I think that Como does have a really nice offensive benefit to my team, as it is able to run a mixed set really well. Just like Xerneas, but this thing can also set up in terms of speed, which is really valuable, because it can outspeed a lot of even Scarfed Ubers, things like Scarf Rayquaza, or even +1 Rayquaza if I get an Autotomize off. I can outspeed things like Scarf Palkia, Scarf Ho-Oh, really any Uber Scarf mon besides like maybe Scarf Naganadel, I'm not really sure on that one, or like Scarf Hermosa, that one's definite no. Regardless though, this thing does offer a lot of nice coverage to my team as well, which I thought was really beneficial. At +1, I had +2, this thing can literally like speed type with a Scarf Coco to keep in mind. So yeah, I guess it would outspeed Scarf Naganadel then, because Coco's slow, faster than Naganadel, but it would take a lot of speed, of course, but it is still possible. So this thing does offer a lot of nice coverage as well for Ubers, so I thought it was a very valuable pick to have. It does provide me with my second rocker overall, however, Donphan is probably going to be more so my reliable rocker. This is just a secondary one, but it still is a really nice rocker. I feel like it has a lot of nice coverage and defensive synergy, both. Well, it has a lot of nice offensive and defensive synergy on my team. I feel like this is a really nice mod to have. And also the fact that it is 4 times Fairy Week isn't really that bad, because I do have Aegislash, who's a really solid Fairy counter, and my Mega, of course, does really help with the Fairies as well. So I wasn't overly concerned about the Fairy Weakness either. Next up on my draft, we have a Dark type. I got Sneasel. I really wanted a mon that can patch my speed tiers between Torn and Xerneas. And while this doesn't patch them a ton, it does, of course, help a little bit. This did actually change up my plan later on. I was actually going to plan on getting a Glalie later on as my last round pick, or second to last round pick, because AV Glalie would have been a really nice way to handle Shaman Sky, because it would have been 3 killed by even Seed Flare. No matter what the spread was, I could have guaranteed clicked Ice Shard and I would have died. So that would have been really nice to have. But Sneasel is really nice, at least offensively checking it. I don't actually think I play Shaman Sky on my schedule, if I'm not mistaken. I can double check that real quick, because I do have the schedule up right now. Never mind, I play it week 3. Oh, I forgot Sparks has it, so that's gonna be a rude awakening playing Sparks again. Because last time Sparks kind of wheelchaired us and almost 6-0 as week 1. Regardless though, I do think that this is a really solid mod to have. I think that the Dark typing is also really nice, because just stab knockoff, it's a really valuable typing to have on any draft. I feel like any draft that doesn't have a stab knockoff user is actually shooting themselves in the foot, I'd argue. Again, priority as well, it's a pursuit trapper as well, which is really nice. This is my way around the ghost that I was talking about that I would fix up later on, because right now my only other way of handling ghosts is Aegislash. So I think this definitely helps my Aegislash a lot. I think this is where, as I said, I built around Aegislash a lot better. if I look at my P4G Next Gen team, I don't actually think that I had a good way around darks. Of course, I will need to go to Google and sign in because I'm on incognito because I was actually uploading a video for Bird. So let me do that real quick. Because I'm kind of curious at this point. I don't actually think I had a dark type, if I'm not mistaken, on my P4G Next Gen team, but I do actually keep all my old teams in a folder, luckily. So I can, of course, pull that up real quick. P4G Next Gen, here we go. Okay. So if I look at this team, let's see. So drafts, I think I was right here. Okay. So my dark type was Incinerate. Never mind, I did have a dark type. It's just a matter of the team itself was just really bad. Regardless, though, I do think this team is definitely having a fast dark type is really nice. Of course, because it will outspeed things like Gengar, of course, and whereas my Cinderella would have had technically a Titanium Z potentially, so that is really scary. However, Sneasel does not have to worry about that because it'll outspeed, and if it's a Scarf Gengar, well, we tried. We really tried. Next up, though, we have Masharna. I feel like at 5 points, this is a really fat Psychic that I could grab really easily. UC was a little too pricey, however, as much as I would have loved UC because it would have given me another rocker. I just couldn't afford it with the plans I had later on. I may free agent for it, who knows, but I felt like that for the price, Masharna was overall better for my team. Regardless, though, I feel like that Masharna offers a lot of nice utility. It gives me a Trick Room setter, which is really nice, because that, of course, does help with, let's say, even Coma. Well, I was going to say, like, Donphan, Suicune, and at the very least, Donphan, Aegislash. Even, like, Como and Xerneas, though, are really nice in Trick Room, I feel like. But this does offer a lot of nice potential in Trick Room. I also did get another Mon in my Electric later on that is also really not that bad in Trick Room. But my team is a really slow team overall, so I feel like that having a Trick Room setter is really nice. I want to definitely try and patch up my team later on, but I want to give it at least a week 3 so I know what works and what doesn't work. I'm definitely looking at potential trades already, though. Regardless, though, I think Masharna is definitely a Mon that I would actually keep no matter what. I think this thing is just too valuable to my roster. The Trick Room support, Healing Wish support is really nice for Xerneas as well. I think it's just a really nice Mon. There's not much to say about it. I just like it on the team. Next up, we have Tinkershell. Tinkershell's returning. Not with a custom sprite, sadly, because I'm doing it live comms, so I can't do custom sprite this season. Boo-hoo. I don't know how to, at least. I'm sure there's a way, I just don't know how to. Regardless, though, this is the Spiker I went with after I didn't end up going with Glalie, because I didn't want to get a second Ice type. I felt like it was very useless, in my opinion. So I got a slow Mon, Nick Baton Pass, as my team only has Tornadus for initiative right now. So I feel like the Tinkershell does, of course, provide some nice utility in that regard. Also, this is our Marshadow counter, because Marshadow does blow through both Sneasel and Aegislash, who are my ghost answers. So this is our Marshadow counter right here. We're going to go with it. I'm hoping for the best versus Marshadow, as it does kind of dick my team down. Regardless, though, I felt like that this was more so a pick for the fans. The fans at home, my GBA D-League fans, where like half you guys came from, will really appreciate this pick. I need a Tinkershell in the comments down below if you're excited for Tinkershell. Next up, we got Luxray. This is our electric type I was hinting at earlier. I feel like the Luxray is a really solid pickup overall for my team. It does give Intimidate support, which is always really nice. There are definitely some really threatening physical Ubers, things like Blaziken, Groudon, Rayquaza, Zygarde Complete. Tons of physical threatening Ubers that are really, really threatening. Even like Mega Metagross, for example. I potentially run like a defensive spread with this. Also, it's really nice because it's a slow pivot, which is really solid. And not a lot of Ubers are actually ground type. There's, of course, Zygarde Complete and Groudon, who are very terrifying Ubers. Zygarde Complete didn't go, and I played Blue Week 10, so by that point, it'll probably be a meme match, if anything, and I do handle Groudon really well anyway. But overall, though, a lot of physical Ubers, like Ho-Oh even, I can just run a defensive spread. I think I could take a hit from Bandit Ho-Oh even. Regardless, though, Luxray overall is a really nice and dominant user. It gets Guts as well, so under Trick Room, Guts Luxray could be a really threatening Mon, I feel like, for a lot of teams. As I mentioned, there aren't that many Ubers that are ground types, or even just threatening ground types that were drafted in general. I feel like the ground types are arguably really lackluster, or at the very least the ones that were drafted do get like 4 times hit by Ice Fang. So Ice Fang plus Wild Charge gonna blow through a lot of teams, I feel like, with Guts. So I'm really looking forward to trying out Luxray. I'm hoping I can get a couple games in with it, and hopefully I don't fuck it up like I did Pikachu. Next up, we got ourselves Wigglytuff. Because of the way this worked, I had 1 point left after my Mega. I figured that this worked out really well. It takes the Cleric support off of Xerneas, of course, which is really nice. It's a nice Wish Passer as well for my team, as I did lack that. My only other Wish Passer would have been Healing Wish, and that would have killed off my Masharna, who I feel like is the Mon that could potentially be a really nice wall on my team. Wigglytuff, of course, I had to pick it up for Strong because we are dropping PMC. If you guys didn't know, I already tweeted it out. I'm going to be mentioning it in my PMC upload that goes up Thursday. Regardless, though, I feel like that this is actually a really vital Mon in my roster. So yeah, we're going to go with it. I'm hoping for the best. And yeah, I think this will be a really nice mod on our team. Hoping for the best. Now, before I get into the last mod, I would like to mention that it should be fairly obvious. I have 15 points left if you can do math. If you can do math, of course, congrats. You can do math. You can do simple addition and subtraction. So, with 120 points to start, we have 1 of 5 points spent. There are... I'll give you guys a couple options for my Mega, because at this point, the Megas in this tier were Mega Medicham, Mega Scizor, and Mega Venusaur. Mega Medicham was taken round 3. Mega Scizor was taken round 2. Neither of those I was interested in anyway, as you could clearly tell by our draft. We get ourselves Mega Venusaur. This is our backup fairy check. Mega Scizor, to be fair, could have fit kind of well, but I didn't really need a second steal. My team would have been fairly fire weak. At the very least, this thing has thick fat and is not 4 times fire weak. So this thing can actually take it surprisingly well. It can even, like, potentially 1v1 at Volcarona if it's not a Z-move Volcarona, because it does, of course, get, like, Rock Slide, of course. So that's really nice in general. Thick fat actually helped this thing a ton. This thing gets really nice recovery as well. This is where I sort of just said, fuck it, we're going semi-stall. Though, to be fair, by the time I picked up Suicune, I already had in mind I was going to get Mega Venusaur and Torrentee with it. So, the rest of the picks sort of just fit in on the regards of we're going semi-stall. My only offense of this team, as I said, is like Luxray, Kommo-o, kind of Torrentee, and Xerneas. And I guess Aegislash too, but Aegislash is like really 50-50 on if it's offensive or not. Regardless though, my team is definitely more defensive, and I think Venusaur plays really well into that. I've only drafted Venusaur a couple other times in terms of the Mega, and I didn't really use it well. I drafted really horribly around it as well. But I think this is probably a really solid Mega Venusaur draft. I'm just not sure if it's a really solid around 20 draft in terms of me being able to use it. So we're going to see what happens. I think that if I did make trades, a couple things on the board that I think might not be bad would be things like, for example, I accidentally reloaded the dock, goddammit. I think that I could arguably get maybe, fuck, Lele's gone. I was gonna say I could get like Lele plus Deoxys form. I guess I could go with like Darkrai Blaziken. That might not be bad, actually. And I could go with like Darkrai Blaziken. I can go with like Zeraora, that's free too. This would of course hurt my points a lot. I could also just switch out my Aegislash for Naganadel and get a lower steal. Something like maybe a Skarmory, because at the very least Naganadel would help offensively a lot with my team, and I feel like it still wouldn't be that bad. I could choose my Mega up, of course, if I did that. I can go for something like, let's say, I can go with a Zard Y. Ooh, because my team doesn't have a Fire type. My team right now relies on Kommo and Donphan to break steals, or even so we can just outstall them, but Zard Y might not be bad. I might consider this, not gonna lie. This would be better for my speed tiers, at least. There's also like Mega Pinsir, Mega Lottie, even Mega Blastoise I'd consider, or like Mega B. Actually, I wouldn't really consider Mega B. I feel like it just matches really poorly around a lot of Ubers. I could even go as far as to go with Rain, but I feel like that's not reliable. That's never reliable. There are a lot of really solid Megas left, though, that I would highly consider. Even like Mega Audino, I think, is actually a really viable Mega in Ubers, just because it's actually really fat. Mega Fairy typing is really nice because there are a lot of Dragons in Ubers. So I think that there's definitely a lot of potential to change up my team. Mega Audino, actually, if Mega Venusaur was to be grabbed, or if I just had to get sniped and had to pick up another Grass or Poison, let's say, over something else, Mega Audino is actually my backup Mega to get. I think that overall, though, there are a lot of potential other mons that I could grab and just change the team up to an offensive build. I think it just depends on how I perform. If I'm positive by week 3, I think I'll keep the team as is. If not, I'm going to look into trades. That's simple as that. Regardless, though, I think that I'll keep this up for now. If you guys did enjoy my draft analysis, leave a like down below. Comment down below with what you predict our record will be. Week 1, we're playing off against the Flying Bird coach in New South Wales. Very good pal of mine. I do a lot of his editing, of course, so you should also check out his content as well. It's very nice. I've actually really enjoyed editing his last couple draft analyses. They've been hysterical to edit, especially Facecam Bird. It's really nice. Regardless, though, I will see you guys in the next one. Until then, peace out, guys.